So as couples, we often get into quarrels, arguments, which we start on a small issue or a small note, and before we know it, boom, becomes a big war. How do we get there? So that is our topic for discussion today. My name is Pamela Ewuta, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're here for the first time, please subscribe and click on the notification button so every Wednesday 9 a.m. West African time you get it every time we drop a new video. So welcome and make yourself at home. So today let's talk about it. What are we talking about? Conflict resolution within the relationship. How do you resolve conflict when it comes up in your relationship? It starts off like a small issue that you just want to reserve, and one person says something, the other person says another thing, and boom, it becomes a big issue. We leave what is on ground and we start defending ourselves. We get upset and we all walk away from the issue on ground. We are angrier, we are upset at each other, and yet the issue is not resolved. So as couples, sometimes we have some issues that we want to talk about. Maybe your spouse is not supporting you in a certain area, or he or she forgot to do something and you are upset, and now you want to talk about it. And then in talking about it, in trying to resolve this issue, you make some 3 mistakes that would take the whole conversation into a whole new level. What are these mistakes? First, your choice of words. When you are trying to talk to your spouse about whatever it is you are upset about and you want to resolve it, the first cardinal mistake you would make is when you say, "You always make me feel this way. You always make me feel this way. You always do this to me. You always say this to me. You always. Now, notice the language. You are no more talking about the issue that you are upset about. Now you are attacking the person because you are saying it is your fault. By such statement, you are clearly saying it is your fault that I'm feeling this way. It is your fault we are always having this argument." And no sane human being will hear that and embrace it. He or she will get on a defense and say, "How is it my fault? Why is it my fault that this, that is always?" So that is the first big error anyone would make when you are trying to resolve an issue. Don't use the word you always, you. Just own whatever it is you're feeling, because after all, you are the one that is offended and you are clearly wanting to talk about it. And so say it in a clear term. "I am not happy about the situation. I am not comfortable with this. I don't like the way it's going, but we can resolve it. Let's talk about it." Do not go about and say you. When you say you put the other person on defense. He or she wants to guard their territory and say, "No, it is not my fault." And then you veer off track and you are no more attending to what is on ground. The other second mistake that most people would make when we are trying to resolve an argument or a quarrel in a relationship is when you resurrect an issue both party thought was dead, sorted, and buried. You resurrect it from nowhere. You just bring it up and said, "Yes, 5 years ago, last week, 10 days ago, you did so." And your spouse is like, "I thought we resolved that." So when you bring up issues that have been sorted out before, that both of you thought you had sorted out and you have resolved, what you're trying to tell your spouse is, "I don't trust you." You are trying to say, "Yes, you've done it before, we've sorted it, but I don't trust you." So when you say things like that, issues, our choice of words affect the way the other person perceives our conversation within an argument, within a settlement, within how we want to settle issues. So it's like, are you sure this person is sincere? And so these are the thoughts that will be running through the other person's mind, because he or she is hearing a language that is saying everything is your fault. Then another issue is when, maybe as a female, most female play this as a card, you start to cry. There's an issue on ground that needs to be resolved. Instead of us talking about the issue logically, you employ an emotional defense. You start to cry. And when you cry, how do we resolve the issue? So your spouse, if he is the type that he would not want to see you cry, that gets sad by seeing you cry, would not be able to resolve the issue. So I ask you, do you want to resolve the issue on ground, or you want to employ some emotional blackmailing? Because you've got to be careful with your choice of words and whatever emotions you put out there. When there is an argument or a difference that needs to be resolved, it's important that we come to the table with a clear mind, a clear heart, so we sit down and resolve the issue. So, and when you have this repeated arguments with your spouse all the time, it is a big indication that there is a bigger issue. It means when both of you get easily irritated and become less tolerant with each other, it means there is a bigger issue that you need to watch out for that is not resolved, and if unresolved can become a big issue for you in your relationship. And so anytime you have differences that you need to resolve, kindly sit down calmly, think through it before you start the conversation. Watch your language, watch your tone, and watch your emotion. Do not resort to emotional blackmail over issues that can be sorted out, that can be resolved. After all, we both want the issue to be resolved, don't we? It is important that you know how you need to resolve quarrels or arguments within your relationship, because unresolved issues pile up to become an issue that can result to stonewalling, where both of you are in a world of your own and your relationship is no more it's taking a back seat because everyone is hurting. And so when one party is hurting, the other person should be able to listen and everybody agree together and resolve the issue on ground. So how do you resolve issues? How do you resolve arguments, quarrels, differences within your relationship? I would like to hear from you. And if you are one that is always on the defense, I want you to put your guard down, put your defense down, and talk about it. It is not a war yet. It is just an argument that needs to be resolved. Do not let your argument or your differences get to the war level. We do not need it in the relationship. We are lovers after all. We are enjoying intimacy. We want intimacy and we don't want war. So this is our topic for today. I hope it has helped you. You have learned something, one or two from me. And if you want to have a comment or make a comment or an addition to it, I would like to see your comments below.